Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up, and laughing. If this is your first time visiting our channel, welcome. We are really glad to see you. And if it's not, welcome back. I'm really, really glad to see you. I love to chat with old friends. So, who do we have with us tonight? Let me just pop over and see. I noticed there were quite a few people waiting as I was racing around, making my cup of tea, putting plates in the dishwasher, making sure the cheese went back in the fridge in the right spot, all that sort of thing that we do. Hello, Kerry. Pumpkin soup. I had chicken soup for tea, chicken noodle soup. It was delicious. Hello, Veronica. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Jade. Hello, Tanya. Hello, Paula. Hello, Mrs. Dilligav. Hello, Sheena. Hello, Delaney. Hope you are feeling better very, very soon. Hello, Glennis. Hello, Gail. Hello, Trish. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Sylvia. Hello, Aradia. Hello, Jaka, Bobstar, Suzanne, Michelle. Woohoo, Lynette, Beverly, Tegan, Linda from WA on holidays. So you can watch live because it's only 5:30 over there. Am I right? Still 2 hours behind now. Daylight savings finished. Enjoy your holiday in WA. Oh, gosh. We've given up even trying to plan a holiday to WA. Hello, Catnaps. Hello, Yata, Mandy, and Janet, and Amy. Okay. Well, guys, what a week. It doesn't feel like a week, does it? Since, no, I suppose I saw most of you on Thursday night. I filmed a follow-up to my Thursday night experiment. If anyone didn't watch on Thursday night, it's available on the replay. I was trying Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers for the first time. Interesting experiment. Watch the video and I'll upload the follow-up on Thursday for you. Very interesting. I'm confused. I don't know whether it's worth it or not. I'll cover all that in the follow-up anyway, but I'm not stockpiling, I'm not hoarding, I'm not building a pantry that I'll still be using in 25 years. So I'll let you know what I think. Hello, Jane. Okay, so I called tonight's show the $5 Pantry Challenge. Now, for a reason. I'm still getting lots of questions about how to build pantries on a budget. We all do that. And I'm pretty sure that most of us at some time or other have had to really, really think about what we put in that shopping trolley. I doubt there's very few of us that have always, every single shopping trip, been able to just go, oh, I see it, I want it, I'll have it, and put it in the trolley. We've all had bills to pay. We've all been saving. We've all had a goal for something or a reason to cut back on the groceries. And that's why I love having a full pantry, because when those times hit, I can cut back on the grocery shopping and we can still eat the same way. I can still clean the house to the same standards. We can still, shampoo our hair and brush our teeth with the same stuff. It doesn't actually affect, to the outside world, it doesn't actually affect us at all. And in fact, when disaster struck and I first started living the Cheapskates way, and that was a long time ago, that's coming up 28 years, almost 28 years. So that's a long time ago. Everyone knew that we had 2 little boys and a baby on the way. Everyone knew that we had half a house because we'd ripped the back off to renovate and extend. Everyone knew that we'd both lost our jobs. But when they came to visit or when they met us down the street or at church or a playgroup, there was no obvious to them difference in our lifestyle. To the outside world, we hadn't changed a thing. We'd changed heaps, and that's how Cheapskates came about. Because what I learned, people then started asking me about. Started at playgroup. One of the mums at playgroup wanted to know. She said, she jokingly said, are those tomato plants that you're growing really tomatoes? They were, for a reason. I used a lot of tomatoes. We ate a lot of tomatoes and they're easy to grow. So I grew them. So I started each week at playgroup. I'd say, this is what I've done this week, blah, blah, blah. I learned to make washing powder. Wowzers. Well, I actually didn't learn to make washing powder. First of all, I learned to make washing gloop. Gloop, folks, gloop. It was that gel stuff. And the recipe for it is still in the tip store in the laundry cleaning section. I changed to powder, and the story about that's on our website too, after losing 2 buckets of gloop. Because little boys like to play in gloop, apparently. Anyway, that's how Cheapskates came about. That's how I became a cheapskate. But people didn't know. And I think if someone can look at you and go, wow, they're living the good life, and we are. I have no complaints about our life, and not see us in debt and not see us scrabbling, madly to pay bills or buy food, or not hear us complain about those things, and not hear us say we can't afford to go on holiday. That's a really big thing. And it's all because of the way we live. And it started with my pantry, my good old kitchen pantry. Now, I was like most people in the early 90s with little kids and, husband and a house, and we were working and trying to keep up with things. I bought what I thought we needed, but a lot of it we didn't actually need. And a lot of it was convenience, because I thought I needed that convenience. I didn't think I deserved it. I didn't think I really wanted it. I was convinced that I needed to have a shower cleaner, a toilet cleaner, a floor cleaner, a window cleaner, a drain cleaner, something to clean the cupboards, something to wash the walls, good old sugar soap, I still use that, something to clean the carpets. I was convinced that I had to have those things. I was convinced that we had to have shampoo for me, shampoo for Wayne, shampoo for the kids. Conditioner for me, conditioner for Wayne, something for the kids. Toothpaste for Wayne, toothpaste for me, toothpaste for the kids. I thought we needed those things. We didn't. We did need shampoo. We didn't really need conditioner, but we still bought it. And we did need toothpaste. We just didn't need all the different kinds. I didn't know that. Those marketing people had done a really good job on me, and I was sucked right in. It wasn't until we couldn't afford to buy those things that I actually sat back and went, I don't need them. I don't need to buy them. I don't need to buy them from Coles, because I can go to Jewel. Who remembers Jewel? Food Barns, and get them cheaper. I don't need to buy brands, because look, the generic plain label product, same ingredients, same quantities, half the price. It was a real eye-opener to me. And it's not that I was particularly extravagant at all. I just had been trained to believe that I needed to buy those things. I don't. So I changed the way I shopped. You all know I went from weekly shopping to monthly shopping. That first month was hard. Took $200 because that's all I had was $200. That was all I had for the month's shopping, and I had to buy a packet of nappies for the baby out of that and pay for her medicine out of that too. So I simply got my receipt from the week before, went through it, multiplied everything by 4, wrote a shopping list, added it up, and that's what I bought. That's how I started building my pantry. One shopping list. I never varied from that shopping list. If it wasn't on the list, we didn't buy it. I didn't write a new list with different things each time I went shopping. It was the same shopping list. That then became my price book, because what I did was made the shopping list. So I wrote it out for, I think it was August when I started doing this, wrote it out for August, and it had Wheat Bix by 4, Rices by 2, oats by 1, sugar by 2, flour by 2, that sort of thing. And then I had the price off the last receipt, and I added it up. Then as I was going through the supermarket, I had that shopping list in front of me with my trusty pencil, and the next column was current price. And next to the Wheat Bix by 4, I would write the current price. And if it had gone up, I'd circle it, because that was important. Then I did that for everything on the list. And I had my calculator out and I was adding it up as we went. Before I went to the checkout, I looked at the total, and if it was over $200, it was actually over $177, something had to go back, because that's all I had to spend at the supermarket each month. So if prices went up, I had to find a cheaper brand, or not buy something, or learn to make it, which was a really fun way for someone who isn't really fond of cooking. I don't like cooking, to learn to do things. But that's how I built my pantry, because some months we obviously wouldn't use all the sugar, but I still bought the same amount the next month, so that I had the backup for when I was going to make some jam or I was going to bake some cakes. It was there when we needed it. Over time, and it does take time, the pantry grew so that we had a good month's worth of food as a backup. And I was thrilled with that, because it had not cost us a single cent over our budget. It had been done within our budget. It was stuff that we used, stuff that we needed, stuff that we liked. Nothing was wasted. I was really pleased with that. I did that for years, 3 or 4, 5 years maybe. And then I decided I'd split the list to a summer list and a winter list. Because in summer, we tend to like more salady things. So I would take off some wintry thing like a can of tomato soup and put in a tin of pineapple. Just swap things around like that. And that added a bit more variety to the pantry, but still built it. It was slow, but it was built. So there was backups. And there have been times over the years where we have lived off our pantry. I have not gone shopping. I haven't even bought milk, because I've had powdered milk as a backup. And yes, there were complaints about it, and nobody really likes drinking powdered milk. But when you put it on cereal, or you put it into Milo or hot chocolate drink mix, whatever, it's fine. So it worked for us. I did that. So when people ask me how to build a pantry, I start to tell that story, and you've all just sat there and had to put up with it. I start to tell that story and their eyes glaze over, and I think I've lost them. So I go $5 a week, a $5 pantry challenge. Here is how it works. It is really simple. It's not new. It's been around for a long time. I've been doing it in a couple of my groups, my social groups for a long time. I know Annabelle over at the Bluebirds Are Nesting does the $5 pantry challenge. We have our own going in our members forum. It's not new, but if you're struggling to get started, it's brilliant and it works. It works because it is a simple challenge. It's a simple challenge to build your pantry for just $5 a week. You know, it's not rocket science. There's no tricks involved. It's simple, it works, it's reliable, it's one anyone can do, and it is one challenge that should never end. I still build my pantry. Creating a working pantry that will feed you, that will keep you and your home clean, feed your pets, keep your garden nice, it doesn't have to cost a fortune. But everyone should do it. Everyone should do it. And it should become a habit, just like brushing your teeth or putting the garbage out on bin night. It should be a habit. Pantry building needs to become a habit. Say it again. Pantry building needs to become a habit. I'm going to have a cup of tea because I'm getting a bit excited here. I'm talking about something I love. And if you don't believe me, you can build your pantry for just $5 a week and just a little bit of planning. It doesn't have to cost you any extra money either, because what you do is you take $5 a week from your grocery budget, because this isn't meant to cost you more. It's meant to save you heaps. And you use that $5 to buy items specifically to build your pantry. Now, you can double your money with half-price specials. That's a bit of a no-brainer. You can get more bang for your buck with just regular specials, you know, the 15% off, 20% off, 40% off. You can get more bang for your buck by looking for alternatives to the supermarkets for your groceries. You get the idea. It's nothing new, just takes a little bit of planning. And before very long, and it will take a little bit of time, but not years or anything like that, you'll have built up a full pantry. And then you can move on to building your stockpile. Now, how big should your stockpile be? That's entirely up to you. How long do you think you would need to live off your pantry if you could not leave your house, if you could not get anything delivered? How long would you want to be able to live off your pantry? Work it out. It's personal, and it depends on where you live, what you use, how you cook, what you eat, the size of your family. Do you have pets? Do you have special dietary requirements? It's personal. There is no set in stone answer to that. You get to decide. But remember, you're going to do it for $5 a week. Now, $5 a week, I know I can say that very quickly, and it sounds like it's not much. When you're on a really tight budget, $5 is a small fortune. For most Australians, though, it's less than a large coffee, especially with the way coffee's going up. It's going to be less than a small coffee soon. So it's not a lot. I don't know how much lotto tickets cost. I'm guessing more than $5. So perhaps if you buy a lotto ticket or something, or scratchy or something, maybe give them up for a little while until you build your pantry with your $5. You'll need to keep your eye out for specials and deals. We do that anyway, don't we? We're always looking for specials. We're always looking for deals. We always want to stretch that dollar. You'll need to listen for opportunities to barter. or trade or swap, you will need to hunt down bargains. You will need to become the ultimate bargain hunter. But you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And you can build your pantry, you can build your stockpile, and you can do it for $5 a week. Now, if you think you've got plenty of groceries, don't stop, because that $5 could be spent on seeds, because those seeds will increase your pantry value by a lot more than just $5 when they turn into beautiful plants that feed you the cabbage, the silver beet, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the parsnips, the beetroot, the chives, the garlic. Or you could spend it on half-price groceries, and that doubles the value. It could be spent on filling the gaps that you have, and we all have gaps in our pantry. If you think you don't, I suggest you do a proper, complete, and accurate inventory, because there will be gaps. There has to be gaps in your pantry, simply because if you use it until you replace what you've used, there's a gap. We all have gaps in our pantry. A pantry is only ever absolutely fully stocked until something is used, after it reaches that fully stocked point. You know, once something's used, there's a gap that needs to be filled. Now, I know finding deals is getting hard. Oh boy, is it getting hard. Basic ingredients, they rarely ever go on sale at the supermarket. I would clear the shelf if flour went on sale. I would clear the shelf if coconut went on sale. I would clear the shelf if, oats, plain ordinary oats, were on a good sale. Basic ingredients rarely go on sale though. Prices are rising, so that makes it a bit harder. It also makes basic ingredients even more expensive. But you can still take that $5 and add your pantry with it, simply by thinking outside the square, maybe thinking outside the box. Because $5 will buy you 2 packets of sugar with some change, or 2 packets of flour with some change. That's shopping at Aldi. It will buy generic sugar and flour, last time I checked, from Coles with change. Now, don't spend the change. Don't spend the change. It's not spending money. Carry it over to the next week, and then you will have $5 plus your change. And, that will get you 5 packets of pasta from Aldi. They've put the price up to 99 cents a packet. It'll get you 6 packets of the 75-cent pasta from the reject shop. And those things, they're not on sale. That's just the regular shelf price. But you've thought about it, and you've used your $5 wisely to build your pantry. $5 will buy you 2 packets of frozen veggies from Aldi with a very little bit of change. It won't from Coles. Coles have put the price of their frozen veggies up. I was stunned at the increase. So be flexible. It doesn't have to be on sale. It just has to be something that you use that needs to go into your pantry. And you don't always have to spend $5, or you don't have to spend it at the supermarket. You can find groceries all over the place these days. The reject shop, chemists sell groceries, $2 shops, department stores, markets. Look at the independent grocers, the Food Works, IGA. I've forgotten the one in Queensland that has really good specials occasionally. The everyday prices might be higher at those stores, but they have amazing specials, absolutely amazing specials. And as you're spending your $5, think about what you're buying. If you're using the $5 to buy food, is it food that you actually use? Is it food that you actually eat? Is it food that you actually like? Can you make a meal from it? If you're buying toiletries or cleaning supplies, can they be used in more than one way? Do they multitask? Now, I mentioned before, Cheapskates Club members can log into the forum and join in the $5 Pantry Challenge chats. And there are some really good ideas. I don't know whether having a drink works or not. Some really good ideas for getting more for your $5 in there. So if you're a Cheapskates Club member, head on over after the show, of course, and have a look and see. But you can build your pantry for $5, and you can do it for $5 a week without it affecting your grocery budget, without going into debt, without needing to add any more money to your grocery budget. There we go. So it can be done. It's a simple process and anyone can do it. Now, let me see. I'll come over before I go on and see. I've lost my spot. Okay. Rosie. People ask how long things can be frozen. I found a chicken in the freezer used by 15th of the 4th, 2020, defrost in the fridge and roast. If it's frozen, it'll be fine. Even, it's going to drive me nuts. Even if it has a little bit of freezer burn on it, it's still edible in that it will not kill you to eat it. It may not taste as good, might be a bit chewier. Cut those bits off. If it has been frozen, it will be fine. Best before and use by dates. Just take away our own ability to judge whether something is suitable to be consumed or not. Delaney remembers Jewel and half case. Oh my gosh, there was a half case in Bayswater. There was a half case in Mulgrave, I think was the first one I went to with my mum. I was only a little girl. Oh my goodness. Everything was by, in little trays of 6. Everything was literally by the half case. I loved it. So exciting. Sylvia remembers them. Sheena and Franklin's, yes. I used to shop at Franklin's when we were first married and still living in Sydney. I shopped at Franklin's at Pennant Hills all the time. All right. Bob Star's been doing $10 a week. Yes, it does work. It absolutely works. And once you get into the swing of it, it's painless because it's become a habit. Delaney says, now that soup weather's arrived, it's easier to find some spare change in the grocery budget to build our pantries. Tonight, I had chicken noodle soup for dinner. Oh my gosh. Made a big pressure cooker full of it on Tuesday. It must have been Sunday. I made it with carrot, celery, onion, homemade chicken stock. What else did I put into it? Oh, the noodles. I usually use the little tiny macaroni noodles, but I didn't have those, so I put penne in. Well, they came out the size of the Titanic. They're huge, but really, really good. So it's sort of like a chicken stew more than a chicken soup. Hannah took a big Tupperware container home with her, and I've been having it for my lunch. I had it for dinner tonight. Just delicious. Soups don't have to cost a lot of money. Here we go. You find out very quickly how good your pantry is when you have COVID and can't get home delivery for nearly a week. I know I talk about pantry building, stockpiling, keeping stuff on hand. That's why. It's not for the, the shell grit hits the fan type scenarios. They will happen. They will happen, and we're either going to be prepared or we're not. But illness, sudden unemployment, being cut off by floods, we've had that. We've been flooded in, not able to get into town. Kids all come down with measles at once. We've had that, and not able to get out to go shopping. Those sorts of things, they're the things. Or, the car breaks down. Poor Hannah's car, 3 times in a week has broken down. 3 times in a week it's had to be towed to the mechanics. Those sorts of emergencies where she has the money in her savings to pay for the repairs, that's fine. Lots of people wouldn't. So they need to find the money for that. So groceries, food, first thing people cart, which sort of surprises me because there's other things they could do, but it's the first thing people cart. So if you've got a full pantry, you don't have to shop for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's a fair, clump of money you can put towards that car repair or whatever it is. They're the emergencies that we need. They're the common, everyday, going to happen to everybody at some time type things we need our pantries for. It could be unexpected visitors from interstate who've come to stay for a week or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. That sort of thing. We need those things. Delaney found some gaps, canned salmon and dried herbs and spices. Yep. I did a herb and spice shop where you saw the beans. I did that a couple of weeks ago. Very glad I could get what I don't grow. It's nice to have on hand because, we like flavour in our food. We don't just like, meat and potatoes. We like flavourful meat and potatoes. Canned salmon is one thing I haven't had trouble getting. Tuna was scarce for a while. Baked beans come and go. Tomato soup comes and goes. Pineapple comes and goes. Butter, cheese is up and down. I've not had trouble getting canned salmon. So there you go. Going slow and buying a little extra each week helped understand how much we go through in a year. It's important to know. I know. Does it make us sound? Does it make us sound fanatical? Does it make us sound weird that we like to know these things? I like to plan, and I like to work to a plan. I like to have a schedule and work to that schedule. It keeps me on track. Cans of soup, FYI, cans of soup are half price this week at Coles in New South Wales. Is it the same in other states? I don't know, but someone might be able to answer. Jane, thank you. Fresh and Save. Excellent. I know when we travel, when we're in Tasmania, we found most towns have 2 IGAs. I don't know. Oh, I do know why. One of them's company, one of them is private, franchise. Don't ask me why. We did find the franchise ones were smaller, but better stocked and usually cheaper than the company ones. Wayne went into all the whys and wherefores, and I just wanted prices. So if he were here, I would ask him and he would tell us. But it has something to do with regulations. Anyway, someone from Tassie might be able to tell us. Veronica's been shrink wrapping frozen veggies so she has more room in her freezer. Okay, it's interesting. Hello, Victoria. We are well. And Bob Star says half price tin soups in Darwin. Yes, that would be nice. Mrs. Dilligaff bought favourite porridge 50% off last week, so she bought enough to last 5 or 6 months. That'll get you through winter and spring. By then, you'll be in your summer breakfast mode probably. I tend to eat different breakfasts. I like porridge. I like it all year round, but mostly in winter when it's cold. Does frozen broccoli? Frozen broccoli. Well, frozen broccoli is just fresh broccoli snap frozen. So, yes, it cooks up fine. I tend to do it in the microwave, mainly because I don't like washing up pots. So it goes into a bowl. I put a plate on top, 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how many florets are in there on high, and it's done. I don't put water in with it. The water that comes off it will be enough, and it's usually really, really good. Frozen broccoli, frozen cauliflower are all really good. I know you can get frozen roast potatoes. We've used them a few years back for Christmas. We were having for some reason, we had a massive Christmas lunch, and we ended up using the frozen roast potatoes, because it actually worked out to be cheaper than buying the fresh ones and peeling them and whatever. And they were all right. They were a bit floury in the middle, so I don't like floury in the middle. I like crisp on the outside and soft and fluffy, but I don't like floury. I know, I'm a pain. Kerry, Woolies didn't have toilet paper or flour today. Hi, Joy. Don't stop sorting and packing. More important than listening to me. Hello, Barb. If you dehydrate broccoli, it is awful. Dehydrated cabbage, cauliflower is awful, as are dehydrated green beans. You're right, Delaney. They just are horrible. They work frozen. Freeze them and then cook them from frozen, and they are fine. Amy says every shop she does now, flour and sugar go in the trolley. They are things that last, and they are good to have on hand if you use them. When I was first started doing the yearly shopping, and I was trying to work out how much flour we used, we don't go through a lot of flour in things like cakes or muffins, because I don't do those very often, or biscuits or slices, but bread, wraps, rolls. I do make coffee scrolls. Those things, pastry, those sorts of things use a lot more flour than you sort of think. And then when you add up how much you need for the year, it's mind-blowing. I double-checked it and triple-checked it and quadruple-checked it to make sure I was right, because it was a lot of flour. Rosie's having trouble finding white vinegar. Aldi had white vinegar. Joy needs more brown sugar to go with the porridge. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Barb. I didn't see that, but I will if I can find a car from somewhere tomorrow, because we've got cars going all over the place this week. I will head to Coles and get some. We have decided we like the Queen Victoria tea almost as much as the Twinings. Not quite, just not quite, but it's almost as good. But price-wise, 5 cents a tea bag, and you use it 2 or 3 times, it works for me. Thank you for that, Barb. I'll let Hannah know too, because she has started, or I think she put me onto it. Coffee is another thing that is outrageously expensive all of a sudden. Brown vinegar, malt vinegar. That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder why, because people don't use malt vinegar, brown vinegar anymore. I use it in Worcestershire sauce. I used to like on chips, and then white vinegar became the norm for chips, and now I don't eat chips, so I don't bother with it. That's interesting. Coles, my Coles had some. Shortages are all different things all over the place, I think. Anyway, so let me get back to here, find my notes. Oh, right. So, yeah, you can build your pantry for $5 a week. I think we've covered that. You know what to do. If you've got any questions, ask them and I'll come back to them later. If you don't have to ask a question in live chat, you actually need to be logged into your YouTube account. If you don't have one, don't panic. Put it in the comments in the box underneath me, and I will answer it as quickly as I can, if not tonight, tomorrow, for you. And thumbs up would be really good, people. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed to our channel. Now, on Thursday, I did the Mylar bag experiment. And I'll post the update video for Thursday night. But just quickly, about 50-50 worked as far as the oxygen absorbers went. So I'd say that's an issue with the oxygen absorbers. I'm pretty sure there was one I mucked up, but it actually seems to have sealed, in that when you put the stuff into the bag, you need to pop your oxygen absorber in. Before you seal it, they say to get as much air out of the bag as you can. So what I was doing was folding it over and pushing it, sort of almost Swiss rolling it, but not quite, to get the air out. Then quickly heating it with the hair straightener. Had to stop and think what it is because I don't use it. With the hair straightener to seal it. So random, the bags that sealed, the bags that the oxygen absorbers worked as opposed to not. Random. No idea why. I did start out going, okay, some I'll put the oxygen absorber in the bottom, then put the stuff in. Some I'll put some beans in, then put the oxygen absorber, then put more on top. And some I'll sit the oxygen absorber on the top, and promptly forgot to label which ones are which. So I have no idea until I open them where in the process the oxygen absorber is. From what I could tell, going back and watching and reading up on it, some people say it's really good to have it at the bottom. Some people say it's really good to have it at the top. I guess it's hit or miss. I did contact the company and say, sorry, but your oxygen absorbers didn't work and they are sending me more, which was really good. I was very happy with that. I didn't expect it, but I was happy with that. I'm not too fussed that the bags, didn't shrink down, because seriously, I'm not building a pantry for 25 years. I don't want to keep them for 25 years and then open them. But I did want to try the experiment. I did want to try it and see how it worked. I wanted to try and understand, get my head around why it's better than just regular vacuum sealing. And of course, the ones that didn't work, they can still be stored, because the Mylar bags are slightly better than a regular vacuum sealing bag. They're thicker for a start. They're light proof, because we all know light is an enemy of food. They're definitely moisture proof, and they are truly, when they're sealed, they're truly airtight. So whereas your vacuum sealer bags are airtight to a degree. So I will use them up, and maybe the next time I get a big bag of flour, I'll try again and see how they go with flour. Because, I don't want my food to, go off. I don't want anything to happen to it. But I've stored it pretty well, vacuum sealing it and putting it into containers for years, and it's still been good to use. So I'm not overly fussed about the 25-year thing. I'm thinking more maybe things that might become expensive, the things that are imported to Australia that could become expensive or could become harder to get. Maybe getting a few more of those and adding them to the pantry would be handy. I did read a thing tonight, and it was about pantry building and stockpiling and long-term food storage. And it was off one of the LDS sites. And it was a quote from 1937, 1932, 1937. It was in the 1930s anyway. And it was along the lines of, by all means, build your food storage, but build it sensibly by building it with things that you know that you use, that you know that you eat, that you know how to prepare, and that give you variety. So if you don't eat beans, having, a month's worth of beans or a year's worth of beans or, 10 years worth of beans is a waste. You could be putting that money and that effort and that space into something that will actually serve you by being something that you eat, something that you use, something that you like. So I think I covered that by saying, when you're building your pantry, when you're building your stockpile, make sure it is full of things that you do eat, that you do like, that you do use. And I know there are people that say, well, you should just stockpile anything because you can use it for bartering and trade. Think about that. Don't worry about building a trade or barter pantry until you have your living pantries done. Once you've got those done, then you can think about adding things that you could use for barter or trade. But until then, you need to concentrate on the pantries that are going to care for you and your family. Now, another update. This will make some of you laugh, I'm sure. Made me just about cry. But the dog who shall remain nameless, that belongs to the daughter who shall remain nameless, has decided the rhubarb isn't worth digging up. She's given up on the rhubarb. She likes fruit trees now. I wandered out on Sunday and there were 2 fruit trees dug up. I turned around very slowly and she was standing on the steps and her head went down down and down, and she was looking at me under her eyes, and she knew she was in trouble. She knew she was in big trouble, that she should not have been digging in those pots and digging up those fruit trees. As soon as she saw me turn, she knew she was in trouble. Anyway, I'm hoping that they are going to prove as resilient as the rhubarb, and I've replanted them, given them a dose of worm tea, and hopefully they will just keep growing. And next time before she comes down, I'm going to sprinkle pepper, I think, over them and see if that will deter her. Another garden update. The beetroot that I planted have come up. The seeds that I planted have come up, and there are signs of the peas and the parsnips and the mini turnips, which is very encouraging. And we turned the compost over at the weekend. I know it's pretty boring and mundane, but we turn it every now and then just to get some air into it and whatever. And I added a few bits to it during the week, so we dug those in some more. But right now with the garden, we're sort of in waiting mode. We're waiting for the seeds to germinate and pop through the ground. I'm waiting for the weeds to pop up so I can pull them out. I'm waiting for the eggplant and capsicums to stop. Not that I'm knocking free food, but there's only so much capsicum we can eat in a week, and there's so much I can do with eggplant before the troops rebel. I did cheat the other day when I was outside, and I poked around a couple of the potato plants, put my finger down and did a scurry around, and there's lots of little potatoes growing, which is really exciting. So I'm praying that they'll keep growing and turn into nice big fat potatoes that we can enjoy later in the year. But that's about it in the garden so far. I haven't done anything else. I haven't planted anything else this week. Next week, or this weekend, starting this weekend, I'm hoping to put out some silver beet and some cauliflowers. Otherwise, and I might pick some rhubarb off the big rhubarb plant that that the nameless dog doesn't touch. But otherwise, not much else has happened in the garden. Tim Tams were on half price at, I was with Hannah, so where was it? Rejection. Oh, no. Tim Tams. We got big packet of Tim Tams, a family size packet of Tim Tams from Aldi. And I've put them away in my wardrobe. Joy uses the LDS 52-week list, but adapts it to her taste. I tried that. Does not work for me. I don't like it. I don't like what they have on it. It's very different, very, very different to the way I eat, or the way we eat and the way we cook. Ouch. Kmart vacuum sealer rolls gone up to $19. That's no good. The oxygen absorbers that came with it were 400 cc's, and they are only they're only the small bags, so they should have been plentiful. But anyway, I'm glad to know you had the absorbers in different spots too, Paula. Thank you. It's a great Worcestershire sauce recipe, isn't it? Oh, so easy. No anchovies. Love it to bits. Cheapskates recipe is just delicious. Okay. All right. Kerry got Brown vinegar SPC outlet, very good. For your Mylar bags and sealing, the same rule applies as with your vacuum sealers. You need to leave headspace, but it only needs to be 5 centimeters, I think it is. Headspace is what I read that was recommended for them. Now those bags, someone asked, you can reuse the Mylar bags. They can be cleaned and reused. Hello, Matty. Yeah, Veronica, I was not happy with that dog. Catherine, love helping themselves to tomatoes and berries, but they must be ripe. I have been, Maddie, I have been dehydrating capsicums. I've chopped some up and frozen them because I do use them in stir fries from frozen, and they are good. Ooh, mushrooms. Haven't tried mushrooms for a while, but I used to do mushrooms with the kids. It was fascinating because they'd go to bed and there'd be nothing, and they'd wake up and there'd be lots of little things. They loved it. So good. And I used to give mushroom kits as birthday presents to kids too. What you eat. Grow what you eat. If you don't eat it, don't grow it, because it's just wasted. So I grow tomatoes because we eat them. I grow capsicums because we eat them. I grow eggplant because we eat them. I grow parsnips, turnips, Swedes, beetroot, peas, beans, and that's the long green beans. We do potatoes. I don't do celery because it takes too much space, too much water, and it takes too long when I can get it for $2 a bunch. I don't do carrots. Same reason, too much space, too much water, take too long when I can get them for 50 cents a kilo or 30 cents a kilo if I buy a bag. So the garden area is worth more. I don't grow onions, or not very often anyway, for the same reason. So grow what you eat and what you like. It's like we don't all eat the same things. We don't all like the same things. So I don't grow lettuce. You know, I might put half a dozen lettuce in at the beginning of summer, and I'll pick the leaves off those, but I don't use a lot of lettuce. We don't like lettuce. So there's no point growing it. And again, it's another thing that takes a lot of water. So you need to think about what you eat, what you like, and take it from there. And space. Because if you don't have a lot of space, there's no point planting a big garden if you've got a balcony and 2 buckets. You know, it's all relative. But things like silver beet's easy. Zucchinis are easy. Pumpkin is easy. Sweet potato is easy. It really depends where you live, though, because they're not suitable for all areas. Cabbages, cauliflower, bok choy, pak choy, broccolis, all the broccolis are easy to grow. They're pretty much, plant them, water them, give them a feed a couple of times, keep the moths off them, and they're fine. And that's probably not a very helpful answer, but it really depends on what you like, where you live, that sort of thing. Okay. Hello, Annabelle. Joy, yeah, the LDS thing, it is, there's a few different versions of that too. The LDS pantry building list, there's a few different versions of it. And the quantities, I found the quantities very, very different to my quantities for my family, which was interesting. Hello, Auslander Info. Prepping rice. What are you doing to your rice? I want to know. I want to know what you're doing to your rice. Are you just packing it? Are you cooking it and dehydrating it? I want to know. How do you grow potatoes? You get a potato with an eye and you put it in the ground. Potatoes grow really easily. They will grow from peelings in your compost. Pumpkins will grow from pumpkin seeds that go into the compost. Potatoes are easy to grow. You do need to, I suppose, if you're a really good gardener, you look after them. Me, I chit them, and that just means I get the potatoes that have eyes on them, and you know what the eye is in the potato. And if it started to sprout, I usually cut off that area so it's maybe halved or quartered. Then I let it sit for a couple of days to harden off. Then I just plant it in the ground, and that's as simple as making a little hole, putting the potato in with the sprout up, and just covering it with dirt. And then as the sprout pokes through the dirt, I like to put a layer of straw or pea straw or hay, pea straw is better, over the top just because it keeps the weeds out. Over the top of it, just a thin layer. And then as it pokes through, you add more and let it grow up through the straw. That way the potatoes will grow up and they're cleaner. It's just because they're cleaner when the plant dies and you pull them, it's just that they're cleaner. I'm in Victoria too, and winters don't get too bad. We don't get frost. It depends where you are, whether you get a frost. We get maybe two. We'd be lucky to get 2 or 3 frosts a year where we are, which is fine. But lots of things, most things and I'm in Melbourne, so most things will grow all year round. But in winter, they are slower because there's no heat. It's so that everything slows down. I slow down in winter. So most things will grow all year round here in the garden. If you can put them into a greenhouse, they will thrive. But most things will grow all year round. Cover them for frost, but just know that if they are normally what we would call summer plants, then they will be slower. But I've had tomatoes all year round. I've planted tomatoes in March and been eating them in July and August and September. They are slower, but they still grow. You just need to be aware that in winter, they slow down. We don't get snow. We don't get the really hard frosts and the ice. So we're pretty easy going in terms of gardening here. And as you can tell, I am not a by the book gardener at all. Grafted trees grow really well in a pot, or is it in a pot or in the ground? you'll have to do a tutorial on that, Delaney. I think that's funny. Cool. Buckets, good old oxygen absorbers. Excellent. I will check tomorrow and see. See how you go. Maddie went to Woolies last night. 1 litre is so $15 a bottle. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. Okay. For your toothpaste, I do better with toothpaste online. So I will check Reject Shop. I will check Priceline. Yes, Priceline. When they have their sales, look online. Now, last year I got our toothpaste for better than half price. It was it came down to about, it was better than half price. About $4.20 for the big tube. So I ordered 2 boxes of it. I did the same thing. Wayne likes a particular shaving gel that I would never buy very often for him. Well, it came down to $1.90 a can. It was really, really cheap. So 2 cases of that came home too. So look at different places and different ways of doing your shopping. But things are very, very expensive. So Central Vic, okay. If you can get Fowler's jars, well done. Yes, I do use them, and I do only use them for water bathing. I asked Fowler, I think we talked about this before. I asked Fowler's for cola when this came up last year, and people saying, no, you can double clip them and pressure can with them. No, you can't. You might think you can double clip them and pressure can with them, but the seal doesn't hold, and the jars are not made to take the heat, the intense heat and pressure of pressure canning. So no, you cannot pressure can with them. They are strictly for water bathing, but they work well if you can vacuum seal them. They work well too for vacuum sealing. But Fowler's Cola themselves have said no to pressure canning, and they explained why. Can you put a little heater in your greenhouses, Maddie? In that it would be something like, I'm trying to think have you seen the Swedish log things that they make? Where they get the log and they cut it into the star thing, but not all the way through, and then pack it with whatever and just let it I was going to say smolder, and I guess that's what it does. It just gives off enough heat. It doesn't actually burst into flame. It just gives off enough heat to it wouldn't make your greenhouse, tropical hot, but it would take the edge off perhaps. That might be worth looking into, or even grow lights give off a little bit of heat. Jars are still a lot cheaper than a freeze dryer. A freeze dryer is running to around $8,000 landed for a small one. Then you've got your ongoing, so they're very expensive. We can get a lot of jars for that price. In saying that, The company that's taken over Ball Mason, starts with N, and I've forgotten it. Anyway, we've been told not to expect any new ball jars into Australia before the end of 2023. I don't know why. I'm thinking it might be cheaper to just buy a ticket and fly over and ship them home myself, because the stores in the USA seem to be really well stocked now. But we have been told not to expect any until the end of 2023. So that's another more than 18 months, 20 months, 21 months, which is very disappointing. If you can get the UK jars, they're just as good. So look for the UK jars. Trees going into the ground, lovely. Okay, sorry guys, I'm reading as I go. Check where most of your toothpaste is made, or where the ingredients have come from. Well done on making bread, Maddie. That's really good. It's a great skill to have, bread making. Yeah, when we had this came up last year, and I didn't know. I had no idea, because I would never have thought to use them for pressure canning. But my Fowler's jars are older. So I started off with an email and ended up with a phone call, and it's the official answer is no to using Fowler's for collar jars for pressure canning. So there's the canning rebels that do it, and that's fine. If they want to, that's fine. It's up to them. But the jars aren't made to withstand the heat, and the seals don't hold. And of course, if something happened, Fowlers do not recommend it, do not back it in any way. So the responsibility is yours. So I thought, for my own peace of mind, there's some things I think, let common sense rule, and there's some things that must be followed because the science dictates that it must be followed, and it work, for a reason. That's one of them. So, but I do water bath in them all the time, and they do vacuum seal quite well. Sorry, Maddie, don't want to get you in trouble. Kilner jars, that's the word I was thinking for, Catherine. They are. Well, Kilner are the UK equivalent of ball jars. And they are easier to get. Now, when you're looking for jars, for preserving jars, look in different places. So, because there's things like Peters of Kensington, Victoria's Basement, they have them, or they had them. haven't ordered them for a while. So look in out of the way places to try and find them. There are still some out there, but they are expensive and they are hard to get. So, you know, Aussie mason jars work really, really well, but they're out of stock and have been for ages. Don't want to upset you, but most of them are made in China anyway, or Russia, in which case we're never going to get them. But, you know, just because the company is owned somewhere else doesn't mean the product is made there. Here we go. This is something else. Oh gosh, guys, I've gone over time again. Being self-sufficient is a smart thing to be. It means you're taking responsibility for yourself. You are understanding that no one is going to save you. You are going to save you. You are going to save your family. You cannot rely on the system to save you. Now, that doesn't mean that you sort of, you know, have to give up showering and only, you know, have a wet wipes wonder wash once a week and let your hair grow long and raggy and turn the power off and dig a well or anything like that. It just means that you need to learn how to cook. You need to learn how to grow some food. You need to learn basic skills, how to sew on a button, how to boil an egg, how to change the oil in your car, how to change a tire. I'm amazed at the number of people that don't know how to check the oil, the radiator fluid, or change a tire. Basic things. They don't know how to check the battery. Basic things on your car. Learn to be a little bit more self-sufficient and build skills. Be a collector of skills. Learn different things. You know, I was talking to a friend today and she's really excited because she's just learned how to make ricotta cheese, and I was really excited because I finally had something I knew how to do that she didn't, which was really good because I go to her to learn. So be a collector of skills and learn these things. It doesn't mean that you're turning into a hermit, that you're becoming an island. It just means that, you know, when the shell grit hits the fan because you're sick or there's a flood or, you know, a garbage strike, you have a skill that means you can keep going. You don't need to rely on someone to come and save you. Anyway, off my soapbox, but I love, Maddie, that you are trying to be self-sufficient. It's a really important thing to be. Night, Delaney, sleep well. There were quite a few dodgy brothers, for want of a better name, companies selling the lids, supposedly ball lids, over the last couple of years. Very, very, you could get 100 for, you know, $30 or something. They were really, really cheap for a reason. Because, you know, they were dodgy. They did not all seal. They didn't, most of them, it was, you know, hit or miss as to whether they worked or not. If you got them that worked, great, but a lot of them didn't. It's a really hard thing to do because we all need them and we all want them, and the lids are the one thing that we need to keep replacing, you know. Although every time I plant something, I think, oh, I need another 6 jars. I need another 6 jars. So anyway, if you vacuum seal oats, how long will they last? They'll be good for 2 or 3 years. Now, remember, oats have a slight amount of oil in them. They are on my forever foods list, but because they will last for a very, very long time. But there is the chance that if they get warm then cold, warm then cold, or whatever, that they will release the oil and go rancid. But otherwise, keep them in a cool, dark spot and they will be fine for years. I'm about to open a new packet of oats that I think I've had for about 7 years. So no issue with keeping oats, rolled oats. Hi, Beth. Oh, I'm glad the packing's going well. Aussie Mason jars good for both pressure canning and water bath? Yes. Yes, they are. I have used them for both. Here we go. Victoria's Basement has the Bormioli jars 50% off. Yeah, I will have a look and see. I think I've only got a dozen of those, of that particular brand. I like the Weck jars. I really like the Weck jars. And I like the La Familia Weiss jars. They are really nice. I like those because they have that screw top lid that you can put, once you've opened the jar, you screw the lid back on and it acts, you can keep it in the fridge. I like that idea. If you like good bread, yes. If you like the, $2 Coles bread, no. It'll work out to about the same, probably. It might be a little bit cheaper. It depends. It really depends on your recipe. So what flours you use, because pretty much bread is just flour, yeast, water, pinch of salt, and a little bit of sugar. So the main cost is the flour. If you then add a lot of seeds or grains and things to it, that will increase the cost. If you're just going to make a plain white or wholemeal loaf, it doesn't cost much at all. It's about, I think I use 560 grams. It's under $1.20 a loaf for my very plain, very basic white loaf, which is, and it's nice bread. It's nice. It's better than the plastic air that you buy. So if you have a bread maker, it's easier to do the dough and stuff. Making your bread is time consuming, not hands-on time consuming, but the process is time consuming. So you need to think about that too. Yeah. Night, Barb. Well done, Maddie. I used to tease Wayne and say he could plant me in the middle of 1,000,000 acres where I couldn't see anyone and I couldn't see a fence, and I'd be perfectly happy. Yes, they do go stale faster. That's because there's no rubbish in them, no preservatives in them, no vinegar in them to keep them from doing that. Can you make smaller loaves so that you will be baking the bread more often, unless you can freeze it, but it won't go stale as fast, making the smaller loaves. No, baker's flour doesn't have yeast already in it. You will need to add your yeast. Baker's flour has extra gluten in it. So if you buy, and gluten's important in bread, it's what gives it the texture. It's what gives the dough the elasticity, so that you get that really nice crumb. Now, I was taught, when I was 9 or 10, I was taught by a family friend to make bread by hand, from scratch, by hand. And what she taught us was you would knead for 2 minutes, let the dough rest for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, knead for 2 minutes, let the dough rest for 5 or 10 minutes, knead for 2, until you've got, because you know in the recipe it will say knead for, depending on your recipe, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Letting the dough rest in between those short kneads helps the gluten to relax faster and better, so that you get a more even rise and you get a much better texture in your bread. So if you can remember, if you're doing it by hand, to do that, it also means you don't get such sore hands. Try that. Even if you are using your mixer with a dough hook, let the dough hook work for a minute, let it rest for a few minutes, let it work for a minute, let it rest for a few minutes, until you have the required kneading time. Okay, guys, it's 9 o'clock, 8:57. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep you all going so long. You know how to build your pantry now for $5 a week. It's not going to cost you any extra. You're just going to use $5 out of your grocery budget to add to your pantry, to build your stockpile, to give you a buffer for when you get COVID and can't leave the house, can't get food delivered, that sort of thing. It's not, ignore the people that tell you that you're being greedy, ignore the people that tell you you're being selfish or you're hoarding or foolish. Just ignore them. You do what is right for you and your family and your circumstances, and you ignore them. Let them worry about themselves and their circumstances. You worry about you. Now, again, if you haven't already given me a thumbs up, please do. I would really appreciate it. It helps us stay up there with YouTube. And again, if you know someone who might like this show, who might like to build their pantry for $5 a week, or who might benefit from knowing about the Cheapskates Club, there's a share button underneath me. Just click on it. It sends them a link. We do not harass them. We don't even contact them. That's all they will get from us. And then it is entirely up to them what they do with it. Have a great week, everyone. I will upload the Mylar bag follow-up for Thursday night for you. And I hope I see you all in the $5 a week pantry challenge forum, sharing your cheapskating pantry building ideas. Good night. Sleep well, everyone. And I will see you next week.